et vert, and welcome back to the kitchen. Today, we are diving headfirst into one of the most irresistible treats known to humankind. Homemade caramel bars. Forget those dry, store-bought versions. We are making 3 distinct, amazing layers of buttery, tender shortbread crust. A soft and chewy, homemade caramel center that's absolutely to die for, and a smooth layer of chocolate on top. This is the recipe you'll be asked for at every potluck. I promise. Now, 10 minutes might seem like a lot for a baking tutorial. But trust me, we're covering every single tip and trick to ensure your caramel is perfect. Your crust doesn't crumble, and everything sets up beautifully. If you love classic desserts that taste complicated but are actually super straightforward, hit that like button and let's get started. First up, let's talk ingredients, specifically for our glorious shortbread crust. You'll need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, half a cup of granulated sugar, a generous pinch of salt, and 2 sticks of unsalted butter that are cold and cut into cubes. Cold butter is essential here because it helps create that tender, flaky texture that prevents your crust from becoming too dense or cookie-like. We're going to tackle this in the food processor today because it is the fastest and easiest way to cut in that butter. Toss your dry ingredients, the flour, sugar, and salt into the processor and pulse them just a couple of times to mix. Then, drop in those cold butter cubes. Now, here is the trick. We're repulsing until the mixture resembles coarse sand or small peas. We don't want a smooth dough yet. We want those little bits of butter still intact. If you don't have a food processor, no sweat. You can use a pastry, blender, or even 2 knives to cut the butter into the flour mixture in a large bowl. Once you've reached that sandy consistency, it's time to turn this into a dough. You might be tempted to add liquid, but don't. The moisture in the cold butter, when pressed and warmed slightly by your hands, is all you need. Dump the mixture into a lightly greased 9 by 13-inch baking pan. Now, this is crucial for the crust. Press it firmly and evenly across the bottom of the pan. I like to use the bottom of a measuring cup or a flat spatula to really compact it. The firmer you press, the less likely it is to crumble when you cut the finished bars. Once it's pressed, we're going to par-bake this crust. Pop it into a preheated 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until the edges are just starting to turn a light golden brown. This par-baking step ensures the crust is fully cooked and sturdy enough to handle the weight of the caramel layer. While that's baking, it's time for the star of the show, the homemade caramel. Making caramel can feel intimidating, but I'm going to walk you through a foolproof method. You will need 1 cup of unsalted butter, 2 cups of packed light brown sugar. 1 cup of corn syrup. This is the secret ingredient that prevents crystallization and keeps the caramel chewy, and 1 can, which is 14 ounces of sweetened condensed milk. We also add a pinch of salt and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract right at the end. In a large. Heavy-bottomed saucepan heavy. Bottoms are important for even heat. Distribution: melt the butter over medium heat. Once it's melted, add the brown sugar, corn syrup, and the entire can of sweetened condensed milk. Whisk everything together until it's smooth and all the sugar lumps are dissolved. Now, this is where patience comes in. We need to bring this mixture to a full rolling boil. Keep stirring constantly, especially scraping the bottom of the pan to prevent scorching. Once it hits that boil, reduce the heat slightly to medium-low, but maintain a gentle boil. You need to cook this mixture for about 8 to 12 minutes, continuing to stir constantly. The goal here isn't just to cook it, it's to concentrate the sugars and achieve the perfect texture. The mixture will thicken and darken slightly. If you have a candy thermometer, you're aiming for the soft ball stage, which is 235 to 240 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a thermometer, you can use the cold water test. Drop a tiny bit of the caramel into a glass of ice-cold water. If it forms a soft, pliable ball that holds its shape, you're ready. If it dissolves, keep cooking. After you remove it from the heat, quickly stir in that pinch of salt which balances the sweetness beautifully and the 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Be careful, as the vanilla will cause the hot caramel to bubble up a bit. By now, your crust should be ready. Carefully pour that gorgeous, glossy caramel mixture evenly over the hot, par-baked shortbread crust. Use a spatula to spread it gently, but try not to disturb the crust underneath. Now, back into the oven they go. Reduce your temperature to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. We are going to bake these caramel bars for another 20 to 25 minutes. The caramel layer should be set and a deep golden brown, particularly around the edges. When you gently shake the pan, the center should only wiggle slightly, not slosh like liquid. Remove the pan from the oven and set it on a wire rack to cool completely. This cooling period is non-negotiable. If you rush this step, your caramel will ooze out when you cut it. For at least 2 hours. Once the caramel is perfectly set, it's time for our final layer, the chocolate topping. For a 9 by 13 pan, I usually use about 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips or chopped baking chocolate, along with a tablespoon of vegetable shortening or coconut oil. The shortening or oil helps the chocolate melt smoothly and gives it a nice, glossy finish that makes cutting easier and prevents cracking. You can melt the chocolate either in a microwave in 30-second intervals, stirring in between, or in a double boiler over simmering water. Once it's smooth and completely melted, pour it over the cooled caramel layer. Use an offset spatula to spread the chocolate evenly across the entire surface. If you want a fun pattern, you can use a fork to swirl the chocolate, or if you're feeling fancy, sprinkle some flaky sea salt over the top right now while the chocolate is still wet. Now, back into the fridge they go, just for about 20 to 30 minutes, until that chocolate is firm but not rock hard. This is the moment of truth. Cutting these bars requires a little technique. Run a sharp knife under hot water, wipe it dry, and then make your first cut. Repeat this process hot water, dry, cut before each slice. This keeps the knife clean and gives you those perfectly crisp edges without dragging the caramel or cracking the chocolate. You can cut them into standard 2-inch squares or small, decadent, bite-sized pieces. Store these beauties in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 4 days, or in the fridge for even longer. They are incredible served slightly chilled. And there you have it, the perfect, chewy, buttery, absolutely amazing homemade caramel bars. If you followed along and made these, let me know in the comments how they turned out and what size you cut them into. If you enjoyed this detailed tutorial and want more classic recipes made easy, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy baking!